All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, as I continue to go through things and break down the upcoming college football season, right about now, I want to take this time to talk about the upcoming college football season in the Sun Belt Conference. Now, 2023 was a very strong year for the Sun Belt. We saw two teams from this league win 11 games, both James Madison and Troy. James Madison was one of the feel-good stories of the year, and it was unfortunate that, they couldn't be bowl eligible, which I think that rule to me is a crying shame. But nonetheless, we saw James Madison flirt with going undefeated, and I still think it was a tremendous story as they were ranked at one point. Okay, the Sun Belt as a whole, they are consistently losing coaches and players to bigger conferences. But this league continues to go out there on a Saturday by Saturday basis and put on a quality production on the gridiron. And with that said, what should we expect this coming college football season in the Sun Belt? So first things first, you look at Troy, and they're trying to make it three consecutive conference championships. It's going to be a little bit harder. They lost their head coach, John Sumrall, who took the Tulane job, but in his place steps Gerard Parker. Parker inherits a Troy defense that was 14th in the nation a year ago. You look at Appalachian State. Will they continue to be a force in the Sun Belt? We've seen App State make the conference championship game in two out of the last 3 years, but the Mountaineers have been denied that championship. Will 2024 be a little bit different? They've got a lot of experience on this team, most notably senior quarterback Joey Aguilar, senior wide receiver Caden Robinson, and then defensively with junior outside linebacker Caden Sullivan. Don't sleep on Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleers finished third in the East, and that's something else I want to touch on very quickly. The Sun Belt is the only conference at the D1 level that has decided to remain with the divisional format. Okay, that's going to be very important uh, for this season. But nonetheless, getting back to the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina, 10 seniors starting on that side of the football, which includes cornerback Keontae Lusk. Now, you got Major Applewhite at South Alabama as their head coach. What can we expect from the Jaguars this year? Will they be a force in this league? Will the Bobcats of Texas State be able to make some noise as well in that Western Division? I mean, you look at it last year in the West, and it was Troy and everybody else. The Trojans were 7-1 in conference play. You had Texas State, South Alabama, and Arkansas State all there at 4-4. Will anybody be able to challenge Troy in that division? We've got to wait and see. But nonetheless, I still think we have some compelling action coming around the bend this year in the Sun Belt. You look at some notable games to keep an eye on for this league this year. For the month of October alone, you got Texas State taking on Troy. You got Troy traveling to South Alabama. Troy also traveling to Arkansas State. These could be some vital games right there. November 2nd, Coastal Carolina faces off with Troy. You got Coastal Carolina and James Madison meeting in October. App State taking on Coastal Carolina in November. South Alabama versus App State in September, and most notably one that I'm definitely keeping an eye on in November. You got App State hosting James Madison. I think we are in store for some tremendous action this year in the Sun Belt. The East, I think it's going to come down to Coastal Carolina, James Madison, and Appalachian State. I think those are the three teams that are the cream of the crop, if you will, in the Sun Belt East. Why in the West, I still think it's Troy's division to lose. I like South Alabama and I like Texas State as well, and also keep an eye out for Arkansas State. But at the end of the day, I really do see an App State, Troy, showdown in the conference championship game for the second consecutive year. I really like this App State team. I think they have what it takes to win this conference. And here in August, that is my pick to win the Sun Belt. I'm going with the Mountaineers of Appalachian State. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Now, I was unable to get this one in for yesterday as I promised, but nonetheless, it is up and posted. However, the next conference that I will be breaking down ahead of the upcoming college football season will be the American Athletic Conference. So definitely stay tuned. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I am William Martin. I'm signing off once again and saying thank you to each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.